President Biden's signature is all the bipartisan infrastructure bill right now needs to become a law. And this is after months and months and months of negotiations. The House finally moved the legislation across the finish line late Friday evening. President Biden touted what the $1 trillion plan will accomplish at a news conference over the weekend.
It's going to create more jobs, good-paying jobs, union jobs that can't be outsourced, and they're going to transform our transportation system with the most significant investments in passenger rail, the most significant investment in 50 years, in roads and bridges, the most significant investment in 70 years, and more investment in public transit than we've ever made, period.
While the president celebrates this win for his agenda, his social spending package could still face an uphill battle in Congress. Nancy Cordes is joining us right now from the White House to talk about what's coming next. So, Nancy, you heard Anne-Marie and I sort of joking about every reporter in Washington, D.C., and some not in Washington, like those of us here in New York, refreshing our phones, looking at our emails to see what was going on Friday. There's nothing on the president's public schedule about signing this infrastructure bill into law today. So what gives?
Well, he wants to have a big signing ceremony, and he wants to bring Democrats and Republicans here to the White House, those that were instrumental in crafting this bill and getting it passed, to all be standing around him when he signs this piece of landmark legislation. And that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, he wants to make the point, look, I notched a big bipartisan victory here in a town that isn't known for that many bipartisan victories these days. This bill was crafted by a group of Democrats and Republicans, and he wants to make the case that he was instrumental in bringing them together and getting this over the finish line when so many other presidents have tried and failed to do the same thing. So that's going to take a couple of days to pull everything together to make sure that everybody can be here at the White House for the signing ceremony. He's in no rush, and he's going to be hitting the road as well. He's going to head to the Port of Baltimore on Wednesday to sell the infrastructure bill as well, because as we know, based on polls, there are still a lot of Americans who aren't completely sure what's in this bill, what's in his Build Back Better bill. So, now begins the work of selling the bill and making sure that Americans know what they're getting from it.
So I'm curious as to why he thinks he needs to sell it. You would think that the best way to sell it is to sign it and let's get that money flowing. Do we have any idea how long it will take for these initiatives in the bill to actually get started?
I think he's likely to sign the bill sometime this week. And this weekend, when he was holding that press conference, we were in the room. He was arguing, with a big smile on his face, I should add, that that Americans will start seeing the effects in the next few months as shovel-ready projects get underway. But this is a bill whose effects are going to be felt for years because, as we know, some of these projects, they don't just, you can't flick a light switch and get them started. When you're talking about things like the electrical grid or water pipes or broadband, it takes time to plan meticulously to modernize these structures. And so the case that the White House and outside economists have made as well is that this is going to be a job creator for the next decade, at least, potentially hundreds of thousands of jobs created as a result of this huge $1 trillion infrastructure bill. And that's part of the reason why it did have both Democratic and Republican support in Congress.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that the president joked about this being finally infrastructure week because for 4 years leading up to this moment, that was the common refrain and the common sort of joke over there in D.C. Let me ask you about the social spending bill, Nancy. You actually asked the president about it on Saturday. I want to play a bit of that exchange.
Have you gotten assurances from moderate Democrats in the House and Senate that they are going to vote for your Build Back Better plan now that what they really wanted, the infrastructure bill, has passed?
I'm not going to answer that question for you because I'm not going to get into what made what commitments to me. I don't negotiate in public, but I feel confident. That we will have enough votes to pass the Build Back Better plan.
What gives you that confidence?
Me.
Well, that's pretty confident. You heard the president there, Nancy. I mean, like, it's basically like, c'est moi, you know,
right.
as Napoleon famously said. So where do social spending bill negotiations stand right now?
So, you know, his self-confidence is not solely based on his own belief in himself. It is also based on the fact that there were a lot of moderate Democrats before they voted for the infrastructure bill on Friday, actually put it in writing that they would support the Build Back Better plan as long as they got cost estimates back from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office sometime in the next week, week and a half or so, that confirm that the Build Back Better bill costs what the Biden administration says it costs. And this was hard fought because, as you know, there were a lot of Democrats, progressives, who were very worried that if they went ahead and passed this infrastructure bill, that they would lose that leverage over moderate Democrats who perhaps were not as enthralled with the $2 trillion social spending package known as Build Back Better as they were. And so they really tried as hard as they could to extract promises from moderate Democrats. Okay, if we pass this infrastructure bill, do you promise, do you pinky swear that you are actually going to go ahead and vote for Build Back Better? And most, but not all of them, but most of them have given those assurances on the record that yes, they will vote for it. Now, if the CBO comes back with markedly different projections than the bill's authors and the White House have claimed in terms of how much this is going to cost, how much of it is paid for, then all bets are off. They're going to have to make some significant changes. And that's why moderate Democrats want to wait, especially in the House. They've got to wait in the Senate to use reconciliation. But in the House, they could have voted on the Build Back Better plan already if you didn't have a group of moderates saying, well, let's just cross our T's, dot our I's. We don't want to have to vote for something and then find out after the fact that actually we voted for something that was more expensive than we thought. So they want to wait an extra week. And as of right now, progressives are a little nervous, but they were willing to make that compromise because I think after the losses that Democrats suffered in elections in various states last week, there was a recognition, okay, we've got to stop the infighting. We've got to pass something. Let's go ahead and pass the infrastructure bill and keep our fingers crossed that we can get Build Back Better over the finish line in a week or two.
So, as it is in politics, you win some, you lose some. Biden's got to win there, but his vaccine mandate for businesses already hitting some bumpy roads. There have been court challenges now.
Right.
Who is fighting the mandate, and how's the Biden administration responding to this?
There are various local businesses fighting the mandate. There are Republican attorneys general around the country that are filing suit as well. So this new mandate is going to face a lot of court challenges. There is an appeals court in Louisiana that issued a temporary stay against the mandate. That could be lifted, but you know, it's clear that it's going to be a bumpy road for this new OSHA rule. Now, it doesn't go into effect for another few weeks. That's when businesses will have to start requiring that unvaccinated workers, these are just businesses of 100 people or more, will have to be masked if they haven't gotten the vaccine. And then there's another month that businesses have under this rule to basically require their workers to either be vaccinated or get tested regularly. But I think between now and then, we are likely to see temporary stays, injunctions, hearings over this rule. As the White House argues, look, we took our time, we crafted this rule carefully. It is important for workplace safety. That's what OSHA is all about. And then you've got folks on the other side saying, no, you're trying to use OSHA to bring an end to the pandemic. That is not what OSHA is there for. These are labor workplace rules. And so this is a clash that you are going to see play out over the next few months, and no one really knows exactly where it's going to end up.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.